चिदाकाशे चिदानन्दमयो गुरुः उदेतु सततं सम्यक् अज्ञानतिमिरान्धः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुषुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः। This is Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So, how much Shraddha we have in doing spiritual sadhana? Let's just go into that. Is it taken seriously as ultimate object of life, or more as a hobby or pastime? I have a satisfactory life. If I attain freedom or liberation, well and good. Otherwise, no problem. But for serious seekers, it should be a whole time pursuit. It requires Shraddha. First, we should clearly understand what is moksha. Generally, many say, I don't want one more janma or one more birth. That means what? The mind should have become totally pure without any unfulfilled desire, or it should become desire free or desireless. So one should do sadhana for that. Actually, who really wants this moksha? The self, or the real I, or Atma. It does not require moksha because it is always free. But one who struggles or considers life as a burden wants freedom from the world, where he faces so many problems. So it is the ego. Generally, this struggling ego wants freedom from dukkha or attain moksha for that. Really, the self-knowledge, when one gets by Sravanam, Mananam and Nidhyasanam, then after a lot of pursuit, he understands his Swarupa, real Swarupa. That is, I am, that means what? I am the nature of eternal and pure consciousness. Because of that, the so-called ego becomes enlightened ego. You can see in third chapter, 42nd verse and 43. Indriyani paranyahu indrepya param manah. So it goes like that, And the 43rd one is evam buddhe param buddhva. So, by understanding this, the ultimate, reality, he is able to conquer Rajoguna based Kamarupam and all these things. This is what we saw in third chapter 42 and 43. So this requires tremendous Shraddha. The chapter 17 talks about Shraddha. It is called Shraddha prayer. In the last portion of Bhagavad Gita, which consists of the last 6 chapters, 13 to 18, here Lord Krishna initially dealt with self-knowledge in chapter 13, 14 and 15. And this self-knowledge is the only means of liberation. The th and 17 chapters, Lord Krishna conveys a very important idea. Because earlier, as we saw, 13, 14 and 15 about self-knowledge. In the 16th and 17th chapters, Krishna conveys a very important idea. That is, a person's lifestyle should be adjusted in such a way that the self-knowledge can be received by the person without any obstacle. Because according to our Vedas and according to, of course, Lord Krishna, the very lifestyle has got influence on our capacity to receive the knowledge and also our capacity to retain the knowledge. Veda Purva Bhaga, it deals with the lifestyle that we lead. Vedanta deals with philosophy or the knowledge that we work for. The earlier one, that is Veda Purva, it is called Dharma Shastra. The later one, Vedanta, is called Brahma Shastra. And in the 2 chapters, 16th and 17, Krishna is concentrating on the way of life. In the 16th chapter, Krishna pointed out Daivi Sampat has to be there in the life that a person follows. Daivi Sampat Vimokshaya. That means that alone will help in receiving and retaining and absorbing the teaching. Whereas if Asuri Sampat a person has, he might be academically brilliant and therefore he might be able to understand the logic of Upanishads. The knowledge will remain only as an information. that is knowledge about Upanishads and all, which he has studied, he can never bring out a transformation in his life. He will be like an educated Rakshasa. Therefore, Upanishadic study will be meaningful only if the lifestyle is Upanishadic friendly lifestyle. That means lifestyle for seekers like us. And that is called Daivi Sampad. And the opposite is Asuri Sampad, which we saw 16th and 17th. It's guidelines for seekers, these two chapters. In the 17th chapter also, Krishna deals with the same topic. The stress is on the way of life. This 17th chapter is triggered by a question coming from Arjuna. Arjuna asks a question based on the 16th chapter. And by way of answering that question, Krishna deals with a little bit more on the way of life. So this is the background of the 17th chapter. Let us see the first verse. ये शास्त्रविधिमुद्दृश्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वमाहो रजस्तमः. So Arjuna asks, what is the status of those people who ignore the spiritual rules but worship with faith? Is it sattva, rajas or tamas? O Krishna, that is the direct translation of that verse. In the last verse, that is 16th chapter, 24th verse, Krishna said, if you want to know what is spiritual way of life, that is dharmic way of life, that is Daivi Sampad. And if you want to diligently avoid Asuri Sampad, the best guide is the scriptures. So, that 24th verse says, Sastra Pramanam. Pramanam means guidelines. With regard to Karya, Akarya, Yavastitaha. With regard to what is to be done and what is not to be done. This was Krishna's instruction in that 24th verse of the previous chapter. And therefore Arjuna says, it is not accessible to all people. There are many people who have the best intentions, who want to learn the scriptures, but they do not have the facilities to learn. Because of one obstacle or other. But they have faith in God. So Arjuna asks, or he says, Shraddhayam Vitaha. They have got faith in God. They have faith in prayer. They have got faith in puja, and therefore they want to do the puja. But they do not know what is the right method of doing puja. Therefore Arjuna says, Shraddhayan Vitaha, Vita, ye. That means these people. Arjuna says, suppose there are such scripturally illiterate but faithful people or devotees, yajante, that is, who worship. Because of their enthusiasm and love, suppose they practice regular puja to whichever deity they love, whichever deity they choose, and they do puja, yajante. What is the problem? Sastra vidim ujrasya. Because they are scripturally illiterate, they do not know what is the right method and what is the wrong method. Therefore, what do they do? Every step they violate the sastric rules. That is, Sastra Vidhi means sastric injunctions or rules. Utsritya means they violate. They do not follow. Because they do not know. So he asked, hey Krishna, what type of devotees they are? Tesam Nishtha Ka. Nishtha means their status, their standing, their level. What will be that? Krishna, please do tell me. Sattvamaho Rajastamaha. Will you classify them under Sattvika Bhakta or Sattvika devotee? Will you classify them under Rajasic worshipper or Tamasic? Is it Sattvik, Rajasic or Tamasic Shraddha? This is the question. And this question is regarding Shraddha. That's why the chapter is called Shraddhatre Vibhage Yoga. That is analysis of the faith of the devotee. That is character and values governed by the three gunas. Let's go to 17, second verse. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Trividha bhavati shraddha dehinam sa svabhavaja sattviki rajasi chaiva tamasi chetitam shruno. Lord Krishna said, for all human beings, faith is threefold as Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. It is born out of one's nature. So Srunu, hear about it. Krishna answers, scripture guide person, any person, toward sattva predominance. Therefore, any action which is scripture governed action, that would be invariably sattvic. Because scriptures take a person gradually to sattva. Therefore, the rule is any scripture governed action will be sattvic. Krishna says, Dehinam Shraddha. The Shraddha or the faith, the scripturally illiterate people. Dehi means here Ajnani Bhakta. Here Dehi refers to devotee who is not scripturally literate. And Shraddha and his type of puja, his attitude, his motive, everything will be Svabhavaja, governed by his personality, his mindset, his inclination, or his Purva Janma Vasana. A sattvic person will have sattvic shraddha. Here, shraddha means the definition given is assiduous application of one's mind in a given task. What is sattvic faith? Have faith in Krishna. He will answer. And what is the second one? Rajasic devotees with Rajasic faith. And what is the third one? Tamasic Shraddha. A Tamasic devotee with Tamasic Shraddha. And therefore, the puja will be governed by what? The Sattvika, Rajasa or Tamasa Shraddha. It is never governed by the spiritual injection. Krishna himself says, Swam Shrunu, I will systematically, step by step, I will tell you. So, patiently listen. So, third verse. Sattvanurupa sarvashya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddhamayoyam purusho yo yashraddhasa eva saha. Arjuna, for everyone, faith is according to his temperament. A person is embodiment of his Shraddha, faith. He is verily what his Shraddha or faith is. This is the translation. Arjuna, Krishna says, the Shraddha of a person, the faith of a person depends upon his mind or his character. So, Shraddha bhavati Sattvanurupa. The faith will depend upon the character or the mind of a person. What determines the character? If it is asked, certainly parents do contribute to the children's character. The parents' lifestyle also contributes. The parents, we call them Jenny, they also contribute. But they are all contributory factors. They do not totally determine. Because every child comes with Purva Vasana, Purva Janma Vasana. A Hiranyakashipu can have Prahalada. A Brahmana Visravas, Rishi, he can have a Rakshasa Ravana. Therefore, parentage do not totally determine. The Purva Janma also, it has a say. Dependent on innumerable factors, every individual is born with certain inherited character. Dependent on that character, Shraddha bhavati, e Bharata, Arjuna. So depending on that Shraddha is, one fellow develops. Krishna further say, do not take this Shraddha for granted. Because this rudimentary Shraddha, the faith of a person, which gradually manifests in his younger age, that alone determines his future. Because a person thinks, that means we say, as a person thinks, as he beliefs. So he becomes in future. That is the way he thinks. Therefore, Shraddha alone molds a person. Ayam Purushaha, every adult human, that is, adult human being is a product of his childhood values. His childhood, sometimes, heroes. His childhood models. It can be Rama, Krishna, or even some people here also. Ayam Purusha, Shraddha Maya. That means Maya means product. Purusha means the adult human being. So any adult human being is a product of the childhood Shraddha, the childhood value. That is why we always say, catch them young. Yet Shraddha, whatever a person values in his earlier days, sa eva sa. Eva sa means tad anurupa. In keeping with those childhood values, his personality will develop. So, therefore, Arjuna, Shraddha is important. Yes, yad Shraddha sa eva saha. Then the fourth verse. Yajante satvika devan yaksharakshansi rajasaha predan bhudaganam chanye yajante tamasa janaha. Sattvic people worship gods. Rajasic worship the yakshas and rakshasas. Tamasic people worship the ghosts and the spirits. This is a direct translation. Krishna says, Shraddha or faith is an invisible thing because it is a mental state. It is not physically perceptible. And since Shraddha cannot be perceived, it has to be inferred through some other thing. Therefore, Shraddha will have to be inferred from the type of activity a person takes to. Krishna here takes the type of puja that he takes to. Even from puja, we can find out what type of Shraddha he has. Here, deities are also divided into three groups. Sattvic Devataha, Rajasa Devataha, and Tamasa Devataha. Sattvic deities are those which will bless us. That means the devotee with spiritual growth, with values, with character, with inner strength. They are called Sattvic deities. In fact, generally the deities that we worship, like Rama, Krishna, Ayyappa, Devi, which our forefathers have chosen for us, are all Sattvic deities. We have a second group of Devata called Rajasic deities, who are supposed to bless the devotees with materialistic well-being. Here it includes Yaksha, Kinnara, Gandharva, Siddha, all those devatas. Yaksha Rakshadi Gana, like Kubera also. Ganas. And then we have got tamasic deities, which are called Preta, Bhuta, Pishacha, Dakini, Sakini, Sarpa, etc. The list is there. They are used by the black magic people. All ghosts and spirits which represents evil forces, negative forces. They all represent tamasic deities. They are not used for anybody's spiritual growth. They are not used even for material growth. They are used for destroying other people. It's Krishna says, Satvika Devan Yajante. People with Satvik Shraddha, they worship the Lord. Satvika Devan Yajante. Who will give Amanitvam, Adambitvam, or who will give Daivi Sampat. Then, this Rajastha, Yaksha Rakshamsi Yajante, the Rajastic people means people with Rajasic values. They are religiously materialistic people. Any or Anye Tamasa Janaha, these tamasic people, Yajante, they worship Anye, all other deities. Who are they? Pretams, all the pretams, or spirits, or bhutas, ghosts. All of them, they worship. The ghosts, etc., represent negative forces. They, Jante, that means these people, which will come under black magic puja. Let's go to 5th verse. Asasra vivihitam goram tapyante tapo pujanaha tampahankara samyuktaha kamaraga palanvitaha. Some people practice severe austerity, which is not prescribed in the scriptures. They are given to egoism, pretension, and are possessed by the impulse of desire and attachment. This is the translation. Asasra Vihidam. That is the Sastra Vihidam means the rules of Sastra. Here Asastra. Which is not prescribed by the scriptures. That is Asastra Vihidam, that is Rajasic and Tamasic worship that involve violation of all Sastric rules or injunctions, violations of the scriptural rules and regulations. And Goram, Goram means terrible, frightening, even to hear. See, we have seen people who torture the body, putting even hooks all over the body, and that sulam through the tongue and the cheeks, all kinds of this sort of torture. All these things many people mistake as tapas, but they are all goram and tamasic. Goram tapas, jana tapayante, tapyante. Next is dampahankara samyuktaha, because of the publicity seeking for pomp and show, that means to tell the people that I am a great tapasvi. So damba and ahankara, pride and vanity, samyuktaha, thing together. And kamaraga balanvikaha, their desire is not moksha. Their desire is worldly name or fame or money. So kama means desire for worldly things. Raga means attachment. And balam means power. Amara balam. In the Puranas, most of the Rakshasas begin with tapas only. And it will be Goram, brutal strength. Ravana had, Hiranyakasipu had, then Shishupala, he also had. They were all worshippers of the Lord. And this sort of worship, it will come under Rajasic and Tamasic variety. And not only that, further, I think we can further we'll see in verse 6. Hashyanta sharirattam bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivanta sarirastam tan vidyashura nichayan. These indiscriminate people torment the parts or the organs in the body, as well as Krishna says, me who reside in the body, know them to be of asura result. Harshayantaha, that is tormenting their body, starving their body too much, depriving the organs of the body of the required nutrition. See, body is a gift from the Lord, God. Therefore, destroying the body is never the aim of any type of puja or vratam or tapas. It is all these things, puja or tapas and all, it's a controlled austerity. So that I am not a slave to the body. It is to understand that. Then, Bhutagramam means all the organs. Each organ requires a particular nutrition. Calcium, potassium, sodium, etc. Grama means group. Bhuta means here organs. Bhutagramam, the group of organs like heart, lungs, kidney, pancreas, brain, etc. Therefore, achetasaha, these unintelligent people, they neglect their physical strength. And by doing that, mam chaiva karshyantaha, not only they are tormenting themselves, they are tormenting and wounding the Lord also. Mam chaivanta sharirastam, me who is seated in their own body. And type of puja for spiritual growth is sattvic. For material benefit, it is rajasic. And for harming others, it is tamasic. Let us see the next word. आहारस्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिमं शृणु. The food liked by everyone is also threefold. Similarly, yajna, austerity, and charity. Hear about this division, Krishna says. With the previous verse, Krishna has answered Arjuna's question. But Krishna himself chooses to add some more items. Ahara. Ahara, the food that a person consumes, is also three types. Trividha bhavati. Trividha means sattvic, rajasic and tamasic categories. In the type of food we eat, sarvasya, everybody eats, all these three types are there. Yajna, the type of puja that a person performs or worship is also trividha, three types, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. And similarly, the tapas, tapaha means austerity, penance. And then that is also of three types. Finally, dana. So all these four types are very important for spiritual seekers. Dana means charity. Charity is very good. Even in charity, there are three types: sattvika, rajasa, tamasa. And tesham vedam shrunu. You know their classification, their category. I'll tell you, you listen. And the general rule is, a sattvic person will be naturally attracted to sattvic food. And a sattvic yajna, sattvic tapas and sattvic dana. Because as your mind is, so will be your desire. Krishna says, Tribidha Priya Bhavati. A person depending upon the temperament is attracted towards one of the three types of food. And from that description, I will be able to know where I stand. And I also regulate my life. That is by changing the, as I was, not the lifestyle, the food I take, and all these things by changing. So, Srinu, please carefully listen to them. So, hereafter, we will get three types of ahara, three types of yajna, and three types of dana, and three types of tapas. This is going to be the topic of the verses that follow. So, verse 8. Ayussattvabalaarogya sukhapriti vibardhanaah tasya snigdha stira hridya ahara sattvika priyah. Those food which increase longevity, mental strength, spiritual strength, health, comfort, and pleasure, which are delicious and not dry, nourishing and pleasing, are liked by Sattvic people. This is the direct translation. So in these three verses, that is 8, 9 and 10, Krishna deals with Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic foods. Any serious spiritual seeker generally should be a vegetarian according to Shastra. And not only that, any food that is offered to the Lord will be sattvic in quality. These are the two general rules. Vegetarian food, which comes after offering to the Lord the qualities. The other details we'll hear from Krishna. So in the 8th verse, Krishna gives general rules regarding the diet. Sattvic food is defined. How briefly but comprehensively Krishna describes Sattvic food. He says, Ayush Sattva Bhalarogya Sukha Priti Vivardhanaha. Sattvic diet will nourish all these. What? Ayuh means longevity. Sattvic diet will increase the longevity. Then Sattvam means Manobala, the strength of the mind. It is called Sattvam, mental strength, mental resistance, mental immunity to violent emotions and all. Then Balam is physical and spiritual strength. Then Arogyam. Okay. Arogyam, that is health. Generally, vegetarians are healthier. The chances of diseases are very low in vegetarianism. Then Sukham, what it means, the internal relaxation, comfort, physical and mental comfort, freedom from tension, stress and strain, etc. These are called here Sukham, long-term comfort in life. Then Preeti. Preeti means comfort and happiness even at the time of eating. So Preeti stands for the comfort at the time of eating. Earlier we saw Sukham, that refers to the comfort afterwards, long time. So Sukha Preeti Vivardhana, all these things increase if it is a sattvic diet. All this, that list of things. Then we get these terms. Rasyaha means rasam, delicious, sweet and delicious. Snigdhaha, food which are not very dry. That is, sufficient oil or ghee is there. Ghee is also supposed to be a sattvic dish. It is soothing. Then sthiraha, which are nourishing physically also. And hirdyaha means even visually pleasing. Therefore, sattvic food not only it should be good for tongue. According to Shastra, even to see that one should feel that one should consume even when he sees that. Therefore, Hidya, pleasing to the sight. If a person is sattvic, he will be naturally attracted to such foods. And therefore, Krishna says, Sattvika Priya. Sattvika Priya. All sattvic people naturally like this food. This is Sattvika Ahara. Then let's go to verse 9. Katvam lalamananyushna tishnarukshavidahinaha ahara rajasaseta dukkasokamaya prajaha. Those food which are very bitter, sour, saltish, hot, pungent, dry and burning, which cause pain, sorrow and disease. These are liked by Rajasic people. So Rajasic food, as Krishna defines, he says other than sweet, because sweet is considered sattvic. Other than the sweet, all other tastes of what they call sadrasam, all the other 5 rasas in excess is considered rajasic. What are they? Adhikatu. So we have to one by one see. Katu, Amla, Lavana, Ati, Ushna, Tiksha, Riksha, Vidahinaha. Ati Ushna. That Ati, we have to add, he has put only in this particular Ushna. Everywhere it should be added. So, Ati Katu, Ati Amla, like that. Ati Katu means what is extremely bitter. Ati Amla, very sour. Ati Lavana, too much salt, saltish. And Ati Ushna, very hot. Temperature, here it is temperature. Then Ati Tikshna. Tikshna here, very hard in the sense of chilly hot. Then Ruksha means dry, very dry, with no oil, no ghee, nothing, very dry food. And Vidahina, any type of food which burns or heats up or corrodes the inner tender organs. Certain types of food are supposed to corrode the inner lining of even stomach. See, knowingly, it's not that they don't know. For example, if you eat too much, for example, chilies, definitely there will be problem in the lining of the stomach. But because of the taste, people take to that. They are come under Rajasic food. A Rajasic person generally likes that food only. Rajasya Ishtaha, they are liked by Rajasic people. And they cause Dukkha, Soka, Kamanya, Pradaha. These types of food will have adverse effects, short term as well as long term. Dukkham stands for short term adverse effects like eyes, tears coming. Shoka is long term. The system also will get they get spoiled. So long term adverse effect, and also Amaya Pradaha, it will cause varieties of diseases like ulcer, etc. We will see quickly 10 also. 11 okay, 10 bottle. Yadayamam gadarasam puti pariyushitam chayat uchchittana vichamedyam bhojanam tamasa priyam. That food which is not properly cooked, which lacks nourishment, which is putrid, stale or leftover, and which is impure, is liked by tamasic people. Very strange. So tamasic food is defined here. Yatayama means undercooked or uncooked food. This will come under tamasic variety. Then gatarasam, overcooked food. It is cooked so much that all the nourishment has evaporated. Gatarasam, that is nutritionless, nourishmentless food. Then bhuti means the food which has become foul smelling by keeping for a very long time. Paryusitam, food that is kept overnight, outside the fridge or inside the fridge. Any food which is kept overnight is considered to be tamasic food. Uchishtam means what? The leftover food. For example, half dosa I ate in the morning, other half I keep for the night. That is uchishtam. Amedyam means a food which is not offered to the Lord. Because in our tradition, food has to be offered to the Lord when I am, that is always offered to the Lord. When I am eating yesterday's or last week's food, I will never be able to offer it to the Lord. It is not offered. Food is, then if it is offered, it is. It is not, it is no more a prasada if it is not offered. When it is not offered, it is called Amedyam. Medaha means yajna. So Medyam means sacred, which is fit for yajna. Bhojanam tamasa priyam. This is generally liked by tamasic people. Then Krishna Yajna. So that which we will take up probably the next satsang. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.